It's official. We're doing it. The paperwork is signed. I'm getting a cabin. I'm doing it. I'm getting a cabin. It's a cabin that a lot of you do not want me to get, and it's a cabin that quite a few of you do want me to get. And this has been something that I've wanted for a long, long time. And it's a near impossibility where I live in the Northwest Territories of Canada to get a cabin. It really is. To get a lease, it's at this point in time, it is super hard to get one. So the cabin I'm getting is a fixer-upper, to say the least. A lot of work needs to be done on this cabin. And to me, there is a huge advantage to this as a creator. So when I watch channels, people who build cabins, I think to myself, man, can I do that? And a part of me really believes that I could. I don't think it would be perfect if I built a cabin, but I feel like I could just figure it out. I really do. Piece by piece, I could figure it out. But where I live, it's just not going to happen. I applied on a lease in the exact same spot where my tent sits 3 years ago, and nothing. Just waiting and waiting and waiting. And when I say lease, I mean a piece of land that is on Crown land. And it's impossible, really, right now for anybody to get a lease. There's a huge bottleneck of people waiting for these 5-year leases. And none of them are moving right now. There are land claim negotiations happening up here, and it's really stalled the process. So I'm tired of waiting. I am. And instead of building a cabin where my tent is, I mean, the lease application is still open, and who knows what's going to happen. Maybe they'll call me up tomorrow and say, you're approved. Build a cabin where your tent is. But I'm doubtful. So the cabin that I'm buying with Crystal, my girlfriend, is on a lease. And that lease is renewing in the next couple of months for another 5 years. And every 5 years, these will renew as long as you're in good standing, right? As long as you are a steward of the land, you take care of the place, you don't break any rules, then they'll just keep renewing them. And so the cabin sits on a leased lot right now from Crown Land, and it needs a lot of work to the point where I'm almost going to be building a new cabin. I know I won't be, and perhaps this winter it'll just be me getting comfortable in the cabin, but I have a vision, right? And the vision, it comes to me normally while I'm trying to fall asleep, like little things that I could do. And at this point, it is to expand the cabin and to somehow anchor it to the ground and make it more solid and more enjoyable for Crystal and for my kids if they come out to visit, and any guests. It's a small cabin. It's got a little loft, enough to fit a couple of beds. You can go out on the roof, and on the bottom floor, there's a kitchen, pretty nice little kitchen, a really old wood stove, and a couch. So I know this winter, once I get using this cabin, there's going to be stuff that I'm going to want to do to make it my own. And I just see it being a lot of work and a lot of, like I asked in that video that I posted about whether, should I get this cabin? Shouldn't I? Should I? A lot of you said, man, run for the hills. Do not do it. Do not buy this cabin. Others said, go for it, man. This is a perfect opportunity. I just feel that is actually what it is. It's an opportunity. And so this winter, I'm going to just start cleaning it up, making it more of my own, try to figure out a nice stairway going up into the loft, because right now it's just a ladder that Crystal is not enjoying when she goes up there. I'm going to ditch the couch. Jerry's stove and oven will be going into that cabin. And I'm going to just really try to embrace what a cabin has to offer. I've never owned a cabin. It's been a dream of mine forever. Ever since I was young, like going to cabins was a big thing for me. When I go home to Labrador, I go to my buddy, like it's going to the cabin. I'm going home to the cabin is what it is. And I'm going to either Jerry's, who is my mom's partner of about 20 years, or Chris's, like my really good buddy back home. I go to their cabins. I go home, that's what I do. When I lived there last, like I've lived in Labrador over and over again. The last time I lived there, I was going to Chris's cabin I would go for a 4-night weekend once a month. I did that for a couple of years. Every month I'd go out there for about 4 nights, and man, that was awesome. Loved it. And when I left Labrador, I was craving it and missing it, and now I'm figuring it out for myself. And I'm allowing for myself to fulfill this dream that I've had for a long time. Not only to have a cabin, but to grow my channel. And I always thought, like, there's so many channels out there of people building cabins. Like, I get it. But how many channels are of people who don't know what they're doing, buying a cabin that is not very good and fixing it up? And that's what this is going to be. It's going to be a lot of it. And the roof. I know a lot of you say, look, the roof is flat and the amount of snow you get there is no good for that roof. This is trouble. Why would anyone make a flat roof up north? Well, I'll tell you, we don't actually get that much snow up here. Last winter was the most snow ever, I think, that certainly since I've lived up here in the NWT. But for the most part, we get about 100 centimeters of snow a year. That's not very much. It really isn't. And there are so many flat roofs in the city I live in. It's because the weight of the snow is not that bad. I trust this roof. I know the guy who built it. He built it this way, flat. So his plan was to put a giant patio out on top of the roof. And I still might do that, but don't worry about the roof. There's no sign of leakage anywhere in that cabin, so I'm not worried about it. There's going to be work that's going to need to be done, and maybe I'll put a slope on a portion of the roof, but there will be a portion that will remain flat that hopefully I can access. I can go out there and I can just enjoy the tremendous view from really high up. I know I'm going to need to anchor this thing to the ground. I'll probably use a pin system where I'll drill pins into the ground. I'll drill those pins up through some really thick, 8x8s or something like that. And I'll extend, I'm thinking, out the front of the cabin and out the sides to allow for more space and stability. I imagine myself playing darts in that cabin. I imagine myself entertaining. I see myself freezing and having crazy winds and snow smashing the windows when it's minus 40 outside. And the fact that it's insulated, like I've been in my tent now for the last, 3 or 4 years, completely uninsulated. I'm always able to find heat in that tent, but now the heat will retain, right? Like I'll be able to heat up the cabin and it will hold some of the heat. Whereas with the tent, it has 0 R value. As soon as you turn off the heat, you turn off that stove, cold. So that will be just really awesome for me to be able to stay warmer. And the other thing too is the fishing. The fishing is tremendous on this lake, so I'm really excited about that. I've got to get into fishing. I've done ice fishing quite a bit, like not a lot, but a bit. And I fished in the summer a few times, nothing major, but I just want to be able to do that. And Crystal and I, after we confirmed that we were in fact buying this cabin, we went out and we got a little boat. It wasn't very expensive, just a little boat, and I'm going to learn how to, do you drive a boat? Do you ride a boat? Do you steer a boat? Do you captain a boat? I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I'm going to learn. And so It won't be for another little while yet, but we have it. And I'll be jumping in the water with a good buddy of mine who has a cabin nearby. He has a lot of experience in tiller style boats, which is what we have, where you're controlling the outboard motor with your hand. And he's going to teach me. He's going to teach me the safe road to the cabin, what rocks to look out for, how to throttle, how to steer, how to back up, all that sort of stuff is all going to be brand new for me. And for me on this channel, there's been a lot of, hey, come with me as I grow, right? Because a lot of this stuff on this channel really is just dream fulfillment. And I'm not talking like travel the world dream fulfillment. I mean just like going out and doing stuff that I wish I could have done more as a kid and capitalizing on it now because I'm older, right? I'm not getting any younger. And I just want to fulfill this. So you'll watch me learn how to operate a boat. And I'm hoping just like splitting wood or starting fires or whatever else, being super comfortable in the woods, you guys will see me grow. Hopefully in a couple of years, you'll say, wow, that guy's really proficient in a boat. He's got it really figured out. Look at him come to shore. I mean, whatever. This is all coming to the channel. New stuff, a cabin, a boat. I've got a dog, and the dog is still a puppy, and I'm still a little bit worried about taking him out into the field with me and him just taking off and never coming back. But yeah, you're going to see more of Puffy, my puppy. And of course, Crystal, who is the owner of the cabin with me. We will be together at this cabin quite a bit. You'll probably meet some characters. There will be a couple of characters that will pop in and out of this channel. People you'll see from time to time. Oh, that's the guy in the cabin down the way, and that's, this woman in the cabin down the way, and here's a couple of kids that pop by to hang out with my kids. This will come to the channel, and it's just an exciting time. It really is. And I know the people who watch that video who think that cabin is the worst idea in the world. It's the best idea. I really see it as the best idea. There's so much for me to do. Some of you suggested I just take the land, rip down the cabin, and move on. That is a tremendous amount of work and a waste, right? It's a bit of a waste. So even if I was to almost start from scratch, like let's say, for example, the OSB on the outside of the cabin, that's not the best material to use, for sure. I'll admit that. But let's say I just replace all of that with something that's better. Then that is a whole heck of a lot cheaper than tearing down a cabin and starting from scratch, especially with the price of lumber and plywood these days. Like it would be very costly to start from scratch. But it is what it is. It's going to be me fixing the place up, and you guys will be. I have faith you will be a massive part of this. In fact, I know you will be. You always have been. I don't take every idea, but I often will think about what a lot of you say, and I'll apply it in one way or another. I will learn lessons. Oftentimes, I get bombarded with ideas about what to do with my tent. And every once in a while, I'll go, that's the idea. Yep, that's the right one. And I'll apply it. Or I'll just make it up on my own. But just like I have over the last few years, I will come to you guys, right? And I will ask. And from time to time, I will apply what some of you say. So it's going to be an exciting time. I'm doing it. I would love to hear your suggestions. What's the first thing you would do with the cabin if you were this cabin owner? So, first ever channel update. It's fun to do. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll be back really soon.